Hey everyone, this is the scenario discussion analysis of Narai in its third version. For the main differences between versions, the first version had variable ship spawns with different ships possible that spawned. It had a more enclosed base with this exit not there, and a little alcove here that the Lexington would run to if it was not killed quick enough, which often led to a very hard time sinking it. There were also a lot more ships inside the base, but there was no destroyer that came out to protect the transports as they fled, and there were two possible exit routes for the transports, either the southwest corner like in the current version, or in the southeast corner, and there was no factor that quite determined which direction it was. At least no one knew the cause of the route. Now and then the second version, they opened up this exit area, and it had variable spawns and variable ships that spawned in those locations. And then the third version, all the spawns and ships that spawn now are set, and they removed the Independence in favor of a New York, and the Lexington that escapes now no longer launches planes. And this will be a general overview with tasks you need to accomplish, spawns that the enemies start at, and basic strategy of how to achieve 5 stars. The map for Narai is unique as it is not used in any other game mode. Now the tasks are pretty straightforward. The primary, I would actually say, is to land 2,000 troops, with the backup being to sink all enemy ships. The secondaries, first, which is to escort all the assault ships into the enemy base. Losing any of these ships outside will cause you to lose a star. Second is to keep the lead transport alive up until it captures this landing area here, which is approximately 6:44 remaining on the clock. If it gets sunk after this time, you don't lose a star. Just make sure it doesn't get sunk before then. The next secondary task is to sink aircraft carrier King, the Lexington, before it escapes. This task usually causes teams problems, of which will be gone over later. Next is sinking all 5 enemy transports, also one that causes problems, which will be explained later. And last is landing 1,400 troops, in which the original version was only 1,100. This one could be problematic, usually isn't. Now, ship spawns I've separated into groups, first of which is outside the base. First group is the Clemson, the Gua, and Wyoming, which spawns south of where the players spawn. Second group is the Nicholas, Emerald, and Iron Duke. Iron Duke starts in F2, Emerald starts in E4, and Nicholas starts in F4. Third group is the Dallas, Emil, and Emerald. Dallas starts in D7, Emil starts in F8, and the Emerald starts in H6. And the last outside ship is the Missouri, which starts inside the base, approximately at G8. Next group I call auxiliary because they attempt to flee off the map. First group is the Nicholas and the 5 transports, which start at I-45, with Nicholas coming out to defend the transports and the transports attempting to flee to J1 to exit. And the other auxiliary group is the Nicholas, Phoenix, and Lexington. The Nicholas can either stay inside the base, going along the F line, or go out, defend the Lexington. The Lexington goes straight north along the 10 column to flee, and the Phoenix will escort it up to the D line, at which it'll turn to attack everyone, which by now usually is inside the base. And the last category is ships you encounter inside. The first group is the Dallas and the Campbelltown. Dallas very often is at G7, but not always there, and the Campbelltown is usually at H6. Again, not always there, but often is. And then the last 3 spawns always start at the southeast corner, first of which is Farragut, Omaha, New York, which was an independence in the second version, and a Breton. Second southeast spawn is a Gallant, Indianapolis, and the Queen Elizabeth. And the last group spawn is the Atlanta, the Shores, and the Colorado. Now for a basic strategy. Primary task is obviously keep your transports alive, keep as many ships of your own alive to defend the transports, or if efficient enough, sink all the enemy ships, as it's not uncommon to sink all the enemy ships before all the transports finish unloading 2,000 troops. Now, to discuss the problematic tasks, first of which is the transport task. You want to sink the Iron Duke in the second outside wave so a cruiser can go south to sink the transports. And one key thing is you want to stay outside the Nicholas torp range. So you'll take the route shown on the map to G3, and then you take a diagonal route toward the exit of the transport ships, which will keep you outside of the Nicholas torpedo range and allow you to sink it without issues. I have a video to watch for this, and then from there just go sink the transports and help defend your friendly transports from being sunk. The other problematic task is sinking the Lexington and its escorts. Now remember that the Nicholas can either stay inside the base, which will be no issue for you, or it can go outside to defend the Lexington. There is no proven theory yet on what route it will take. There is a guess that if a friendly is detected heading north, then the Nicholas will go outside. And I think that the default is to stay inside. But again, it's not proven, and we obviously don't have the code for this scenario, which Wargaming has. And then the rest is pretty much doing your standard stuff. Everyone who is not doing those auxiliary tasks should be keeping the transport safe. Battleships should be leading in front, not behind, in front of the transport ships. Tanking damage, so the transports aren't being targeted. And one way to quickly dispatch with the Missouri, if you have someone doing so, is use a destroyer to target up close. The reason I say up close is torpedoing from distance usually doesn't work, as it will change course and dodge most, if not all, the torpedoes. So just guarantee it's being sunk and do it up close. Usually there aren't very many issues doing so. If there's no destroyer, if you have Scharnhorst or Gneisenau, usually those are pretty good options to finish once you've whittled down the Missouri. And other than just sinking ships and defending, as long as you keep the transport safe, there shouldn't be much issue. For where the transports go, they pretty much follow the routes designated by 3 on the map, with 2 stopping at these 2 little points here, 2 stopping at these docks, and the lead transport stopping here. You can keep that in mind when you go into the base, and make sure you go in to the base before and in front of the transports, but not too far ahead that you get focused down. And one last note, this first inside group of the Dallas and Campbelltown, we discovered if you sink those 2 ships too quickly, the southeast spawns start pretty much right away. So you might want to delay sinking both of those until you have at least 2 or 3 ships ready to enter the enemy base area, if not already inside. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you enjoy this, and thank you for watching.